Yep.
Let's just see where we go, man. All right, welcome everybody to my goodness, this is a bonus show. Usually I do shows with like John Watts. We've got a name for it. This is what we call a bonus show, man. It is your host Stephen Palmieri with the one and only Vance Dotson, the
Yeah.
credit doctor. Vance, how are you doing today, sir? What's going on, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for
Oh,
having me. Thanks for inviting me.
absolutely, yeah. So for those of you guys who don't know Vance, uh, well, he does not necessarily have favorable opinions about debt collectors, and he's kind of a pioneer like me, trying to figure out how to checkmate these people. And man, he's taking it to the next level. He'll go out there and help consumers actually litigate against these nefarious criminals. So that being said, Vance, I'm sure I've completely destroyed the intro. Go ahead, tell
Yeah.
the cyber world watching this who you are and why they should love you.
Vance Dotson from Oklahoma City. Been into the, I guess, credit repair field since 2004. And my passion comes from just chasing and suing third-party debt collectors around the United States of America.
Chasing them around the United States of
Oh, yeah.
America. There we go. Look at that, man. You've got your super fans, Violet. Now,
Yeah.
Violet, what about Hey Steven? I mean, what about Hey Steven? All right, Violet. Hey Vance.
How you
Let's
doing?
Who's this here? This is Wesley Wells. Boom. There we
Yeah.
go. All right, cool. So for those of you guys watching this live, man, we're piping this thing all over the place.
Yeah, they in my
YouTube.
group. Them two is in my group.
There you go. All right, we're on YouTube, we're in Twitter, we're in Facebook. Put in your
Yeah,
comments
it's kind of
below.
cool, man, because I did another interview, kind of went wild on YouTube, and
Yeah.
I don't even have a YouTube. I'm gonna start a YouTube.
Yeah. Well, look, if I considered this to be a real interview, I would have actually combed my hair for you. But hey, at least I have hair, I guess, right? So there we go. Let's see who
But
we have here.
I guarantee you, like these defense firms will be all over analyzing this interview. I
There
guarantee
we
you.
go. Let's see. That's Jennifer Sanford, two of my favorite people. Let's see here.
Right?
Wesley, Jeff Bow. All
Mm.
right. Well, we got the freaking. Look at this. You guys are my people in my Facebook group. When I do regular lives, you guys don't ever tell me hello, but we bring Vance, the celebrity, the debt collector slayer, on, and you guys are all getting all excited. What's up with that? All right, that's Robert Sigmund. All right, let's get into it, guys. Appreciate the love. Keep the traffic coming in here, posting your questions. So, all right, so we just like to do lives with interesting people, and that's pretty much the extent of why we exist in this Facebook universe. So, Vance, you are not an attorney, but which is actually so. Let me back up for a second, guys. So, do you guys remember this? There was these two series. There was a series called House of Cards. You guys remember House of Cards? And
Yeah,
then there was another one that was similar to it. What the hell was the other one called? Scandal. There was a series called Scandal,
Mm.
and there was the head character lady was a lady named Olivia Pope, and she was like in DC, and she was like the fixer. Like, so when all the politicians had problems, they wouldn't go to a high-priced law firm of licensed lawyers because they were bound to the code of ethics. They hired this firm of all people who were former lawyers but are no longer lawyers, and they did the dirty fixing because they understood the game, but they were no longer bound by the code of ethics. Not at all advanced suggesting, sir, that you want to skirt around the code of ethics. But my point is, in all of that, is that Vance is not a lawyer, but he understands how the game is played and has found a way to help people fight these debt collectors. So, Vance, let's talk about it, man. How did you get into suing and helping consumers sue debt collectors?
Man, being poor in America, not having many resources of my own. That's how I started, man.
Yeah. And so, all right. So let's kind of. All right. So when we tell people that you sue debt collectors, let's talk about what that means, because what you've got it's an interesting way, and what you do, and we'll kind of back up. I mean, in 2012, I had my first clients sue bureaus and furnishers. I've always sent them off to lawyers, but I kind of thought back in the day, and I used the insurance way of thinking. It'll tie it to what you do, right? Because I remember talking like to my lawyer actually, and then to the one I was sending clients off, and I was like, I get this POA from these clients, and in Texas anyway, where I'm at, you can get the power to litigate.
Yeah.
But
So this is kind of sort of like that around America, but you know, when Vance Dotson getting to doing things of that nature, the courts kind of buggled down. I really want to talk to you about that. I want
Well,
to go
because the thing was, yeah, like
deep in that. Yeah,
let's talk about it. But like, so I remember having this conversation over 10 years ago because we all think the same way. Like, how can we?
yeah,
Because insurance companies, this is what it comes down to. Like an insurance company, when you pay for an insurance policy when you get in a car wreck. Your insurance company is not necessarily an injured party, except by the nature that they're providing you insurance. But they like actually are the ones who take assignment of your claim and litigate, right? And I remember having that conversation with my attorney and then the attorney I was sending my client. I'm like, is there a way we could? And of course, I was talking to attorneys, so there you go. But they were like, it's kind of a. So I never really kind of got into that. But the thing with the power of attorney, I mean, you literally can get the power to litigate. Now, the issue there is, I mean, like if you're getting the assignment of claim, you're kind of pro se. I mean, you're not like practicing law.
yeah. You are pro se, not
that's because that's the key right there. I mean, like I can't like get a POA from a doctor with a degree and then be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to be a surgeon. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like they've got the practice of law thing, but you've got it figured out, and I agree with the way you're doing it. I think it's a good way, but you've got to navigate the legal nuances, which is certainly challenging. But
It's not
so let's
challenging.
talk about.
It's not challenging. It's just going into the good old boys club without the pass. Like they don't give you the card. You're not with the good old boy. But yeah, so I guess basically how it started was back in the 2003 4ish. I was working on drilling rigs. Like I was working a couple hours from Oklahoma City, driving back and forth for work, and so I had older, I think it was an '84 red Jimmy. So I'm going back and forth in that, and I go in. Steve, excuse me if I kind of go long, but I got to paint the picture for you. So basically, like in my community,
Vance, we've got a very strict script that you and I agreed to here. Are you going off the teleprompter? Come on, man. You're gonna be like Joe Biden. You're gonna read open quote, closed quote.
No. No, I really don't.
Hello, fans.
I really don't follow the script, man. I don't know what a script is, and it's better if people, understand, really what's going on in America and freelance. But so yeah, man, I was just cashing my check because just depositing into the bank, and then in my community is credit was just bad. You know what I mean? Nobody taught you, in high school or whatever, college, whatever. So, a loan officer said, "Hey, you want a car, better car?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so I'm just depositing my checks. I'm staying at the house with my daddy, no bills, cell phone probably back then was $30, And so going back and forth to work in an older truck, the lady said, "Hey, let me pull your credit report." Boom. She denied me. It was just full of medical bills. So and this is a little joke, Steve. Back in the day, that was my Obamacare. Just go to the hospital, don't even pay it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it came on my credit report, and then I still see myself in consumers today. So basically, what I mean by that is the loan officer, looking at it now, her skin in the game was to get me a car, so they fulfill that banking system rules or whatever, and so. She denied me. My credit report is full of medical bills. And so how I see myself with consumers is she gave me a set of letters to send off. I didn't do it. And so I come back in, deposit my check. She follows up with me and say, "Hey, how did you, like, what did you get in the mail?" And I was just like, "Oh, I didn't need to send it," And I'm like, dang. So she took time out. I came back. She took time out and reformed the letters for me and sent we personally sent the letters off. And then, everything came back deleted. But
the good old days.
Yeah, exactly. So, but before that happened, she did something that just stuck to me until I'm going to go into the grave and pass it on to my, kids. So basically, people think the first step in credit repair is to send a letter. No. If your object or your goal is to increase that FICO score, is to build credit. So what she did for me was she took 2,500 bucks um, out of my savings and put it on a secured credit card. And
Nice.
um, so me not knowing, right? I'm thinking like, dude, that's my money. And she had to literally sit me down in her office, like, dude, look, this is your money. It's not going anywhere. And so when I came back for that second time, she took 2,500 more dollars. So now it's at $5,000. So when that information came back all deleted, I had an 800 some odd credit score. I mean, we're talking 19, 20 years old. I didn't
Yeah.
even know really what was going on. And so um basically bought a at the time bought a brand new Escalade. Bought a brand new Escalade. And so like I say, I'm still driving back and forth to work now with a newer car.
So you
And
went
so
from a GMC Jimmy to an Escalade.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, you talk
Oh
about
yeah.
living good,
Oh yeah,
living good,
man.
oh, man.
Profiling and profiling, right? So like I don't know if you can see through the camera, maybe my like you see this scar right here?
It's a little, yeah. Actually, I do. It's kind of
This
going
scar?
this way. Yeah, I see
Yeah,
it.
so you see a scar. So basically, so this is how it all started. This is how it all started. I'm literally talking on the cell phone, eating some Long John Silver's, driving with my knee. Hey, listen, boom, I get into a wreck. They call bystanders or whoever called they called the ambulance. So they come and pick me up, and then so I'm in a hospital, right? And I'm like, dude, I didn't call none of these people to come and help me. I'm Mr. Bad Guy. I'm like, dude, I don't need all this. So that's how this came about. So then here comes the telephone calls. Here
Hold on a
comes
second. But what the people really want to know is, when you got in the accident, did your long johns like launch through the windshield, or were you able to
oh
at least
man, it was
finish your
over.
lunch?
That fool was all over the streets.
It was all over. See, that's the real
Yeah,
travesty right there. It's perfectly
yeah.
good long johns
Mhm.
gone. All right, let's get back to it. So you're in the hospital. People are coming
Yeah,
that you didn't invite to the party. All right, let's get
yeah.
back to it.
So,
What's going on?
so that's what happened. So I'm in a hospital, and leave out the hospital. Next thing you know, here comes I didn't pay the medical bill. So here comes the letters. Here comes the telephone calls. And so always been like a kind of a investigation type dude guy. So what I did was because and it's crazy how it started, right? So back in the day, you had a cell phone, and then you would take your cell phone, or in our community, still, we take a cell phone, and then we played our favorite song and recorded it. And so that's how like the music came on like your voicemail. And so I took that same method of recording phone calls, and I just started recording the debt collector that was calling me. And so um man, it's so crazy. So now, like, if I go to McDonald's and I have a problem with McDonald's, I want to see who governs McDonald's. Because, like, you're not the boss in America. Like, if you got a business, somebody govern you. If you got a boss, somebody govern you. So I'm literally like, dude, I typed in this company's name. I'm like, who governs this company? And then I'm starting reading FDCPA. So I'm like, dude. So at this time, I've always had friends that was attorneys. So I'm kind of sort of asking questions. And one thing led to another. Basically, a friend was just like, hey, being a lawyer is not hard. You just got to like figure out what somebody else did previously before you. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Sounds like a plan. So um, in Oklahoma on a state level, it's called OSCN. So on OSCN, you can type in someone's name and type and then all of the state court actions come up. So Now I'm like, where is this at on a federal level, like dealing with federal law? So I'm asking questions, trying to figure things out. And then here comes Pacer, public access to court electronic records. Oh my God. So I'm so literally on Pacer, you can see the styles of the writing, you can download it and do,
Sure.
things that you want to do with it. And so yeah, man, I picked up some information from there, started recording the calls, I was telling them what I know now, you're right, perfected now is disputing, right? So um took it to the next level. So basically what happened was I thought I was just a smart guy. And so my my friend was telling me, man, that's federal law. So you should go to federal court. And I'm like, dude, but this section right here says, you can go to state. And so I go to state court, like it was literally small claims. I go to small claims court and I see a lot of people doing that today. And I'm like, oh no, don't do it. But you can do what you want to do. So I'm like, so I go to small claims and then I file a case. It was like $50, $60. And so I sue the company. The CEO comes to court and the judge did not know basically what was going on. So I had my recorder and I'm pressing play. Listen, Your Honor, they didn't state the mini Miranda when they was talking to me. And the judge literally said, is this a civil thing or a criminal thing? I'm like, this is a civil thing. And she's like, she didn't understand. So she dismissed the case. The debt collector goes downstairs and then sues me for the medical bill. So I'm like, oh no, oh no. So now I'm deep in. So now I'm pissed off because I lost. And then so I went back, figured out, I started reading the rules. Because if you don't know the rules, you're gonna lose. So basically,
Or if you get a shitty, pardon my French, judge,
yeah,
which that's
judge,
actually
yeah,
a really good point right there
yeah,
that you just glossed
yeah,
over. But I mean, you can have a good case, a great case, a great fact pattern, and if your judge didn't have his or her Wheaties that morning,
oh yeah,
right, and that's where it's like, we need to focus on what we need to focus on, helping consumers and clients, and then if it gets to the legal thing.
yeah,
I mean, you can never be too confident which way it's going to go, because it sounds like you had a recording and the judge was still like
yeah,
dismissed. And then you got
yeah, man.
so
Yeah.
all right. So then you guys sued for the medical bill by
I sued for the medical bill. So I go back. I
yeah.
go back to the rule book, go back to the Small Claims Procedures Act in Oklahoma. And I'm like, dude, hold on. A debt collector can't sue a consumer or an individual in small claims. This is in Oklahoma. So I'm like, oh, we got another violation. So I take that violation. So I draw up a motion to dismiss and then I file it with the court. And then that same CEO comes to court and the judge just looks at him and says, case dismissed. So I'm like, I'm you know what I mean? I'm like, you ain't money for me. And then so I said, you know what? I went back to the drawing board because of the information on Pacer and figured out my complaint, took it to the courthouse, paid at the time, it was probably 300 some odd dollars. And then, I filed a case. And then, so what was interesting about that is because, if you pro se and you're not a lawyer and you don't have someone to guide you, you don't know what's going to happen. And so I didn't know what was going to happen.
And to rewind a few minutes ago, also, you had mentioned when the first case got dismissed in small claims, then you had to go check your state rules, the civil procedures or whatever the court rules are called in Oklahoma. And that's a whole other thing. It's like 99% of it doesn't even matter if you're right or wrong. It is understanding the rules, the court rules, and being able, because you can have like a teed up case, and if your evidence gets thrown out, like on the credit repair side, I typically will either use a POA or have the clients notarize the letters. But I mean, like, if they're like, hey, this is hearsay, the client never saw this letter, right? If your letter would get thrown out, now you got a case. They could be egregious violations, but you got no evidence. Point is yeah, you're learning all these things where it doesn't matter how good you are or how good your fact pattern is. You've got to learn. The court system has a set of rules that you have to learn and you have to play by. And then the Oklahomas are different than federal and all that kind of stuff. So go ahead though, man. I'm captivated.
So basically, I figured out how to draw up the complaint.
Yeah.
Filed a complaint. And so, like I say, I'm not a lawyer. I ain't never figured all this stuff out. So so we have joint status conference. And, I figured out how to do that because it's a document that you got to turn in before you do that. And then, so I have my recorder, right? I have all the evidence. I have the motion to dismiss. I have everything that I have all this stuff. And so the Judge Heaton, who's still a judge right now, he said, I think he had like back surgery at the time or something. It was kind of like, when people have back surgery, they kind of got that cast thing on them. And he looks at me and he says, are you ready? He said, state your case. And I said, hold on. Because like when you're pro se, they got to read this little script to you and say, hey, these pitfalls in the legal system is go hire a lawyer. It's a little script that they got to read to you. And I said, hold on. Are we going to do this off of law, facts, and evidence? He said, yeah. He said, but hold on. He leans back in that chair. And he says, counsel, I think you should go outside and talk to this young man. I said, okay, cool. So we go outside and they still do the same settling tactics today. They say, well, the FDCPA only says $1,000. And I'm like, good luck with that. Like, dude, I'm pissed off, right? Like anger, frustration, all of that. And I'm like, dude, I was just throwing a number out there. And so I say, I want $3,500. The lawyer pulls out his cell phone. He, act like he's turning his back, and he was just like, and he said, "Okay, we're gonna accept your offer." And we go back in and tell the judge, what was going on. But the interesting thing, what happened is when we went back in and said, "Hey, we're gonna settle this," and he said. The judge said, Mr. Dotson, I'll be sending you a letter here in the mail pretty soon. And I'm like, a letter? Like, what? A letter? And so the letter was, he said, I'm putting in an order. And I want you to put under oath a sworn order that tell me a lawyer has not helped you form this case. I said, so this is my first case. And so that let me, know I was on to something, and this is my first one. So, man, I'm, thinking I'm hot shot, running around Oklahoma City with a recorder with my friends. And so that's how it all started, man. Look at me almost 19 years later.
Which is interesting, though, in itself, which goes back to how when you're in court and in front of the judge, you never know which way it's going to go. And, like, there's absolutely no basis for him to have you, like, state that there was a lawyer that helped you or not. I mean, if you said you were pro se, I mean, what difference does it make if you grab beers one night and then one of your buddies, happened to. So, I mean, it just goes to show you, like, it's a whole different world out there. And, I mean, so... All right. So what year was that? When approximately? What time period?
And we're talking about 04, 05.
All right. Yeah. So let's kind of fast forward. So I mean, FDCPA has got a lot of teeth in it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. Go ahead.
I like it.
And there's some pretty good case law that came out a couple years ago where you can dispute even after the first 30 days. And I mean, because the nature of the way, and let's talk about that real quick, I guess. And because in the FDCPA, there is this specific 1692 GB, our good friend Brian Ponder, which Brian, if you're watching, I need to get a video with you too. We've got to get you on again. But that, specifically in there says, okay, within the first 30 days, if you dispute in writing, they're supposed to blah, 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 stop collection efforts until they verify the information. But it doesn't say that you can't dispute it after the first 30 days. And there's a, case that came out a couple years ago, and basically it reversed kind of how the precedent was understood. And basically the judge is like, yeah, I mean, just because a consumer doesn't dispute it in the first 30 days doesn't mean he gives up the right to. And it also doesn't mean that if he questions the validity subsequently, the plain way that this law is created, debt collectors can't collect on an amount unless it's authorized under the contract or the statute. Abusive practices in general are unlawful. And so basically you can dispute it at any point in time afterwards. You don't trigger the GB protections, which is, ceasing collection and, until they do it. But so, because when I first was reading FDCPA, 15 years ago or whatever as well, it's like, oh, it's such a great law, except you only have 30 days. But I mean, that's really not true. I mean, at any point in time, you can dispute it, and you can dispute it orally, smoke signal, whatever. And because they can't collect on an amount, there's all these abusive things that they can't validate, they can't verify it, and all this kind of stuff. And so you've got the first 30-day dispute period. You can in general just dispute it whenever. You've got the whole cease and desist part of it. You've got the reporting of false credit information. And so let's kind of tie it together, with that high level broad stroke there. I mean, there's so many ways. I mean, I'll tell you, I get a POA from my clients, and if I need to, I will do a phone call to a debt collector. That is the easiest thing in the world, literally, because the low level debt collectors are basically sales guys. I mean, they're there to how much money can I put on the books today. They don't know anything. And I always, again, when I dispute the letters, it's using the factual data and saying, your own industry standard Metro 2 requires that you report this way. And these guys don't know anything about Metro 2 or their credit. And they're like, are you calling to dispute the debt? I'm like, no, I'm actually calling about this credit dispute. And then you go up 2 or 3 people up, and then finally, and they'll be like, I'll ask, these are kind of the things that I'll ask for, basically, and it is better to do these over a phone call than send it in writing. If you send it in writing, they can just ignore you. I mean, basically, and I'll let you kind of go for your opinion. But again, from my angle, it's mostly like post credit disputing type stuff. But it's like, okay, what is, and if you do it on a recorded call, it's just golden. What is the date of first delinquency? Oh, I don't have that. Now, do you not have that, or does, say, Portfolio U not have that? Because if Portfolio U doesn't have it, that's a problem. If UU, just like Mr. UU, you best get me somebody who can not give me false or misleading statements, right? And it's easy to checkmate them. And then, of course, when you're looking at the Bureau direct reports, they don't give you the date of first delinquency except for Equifax. That's a super important date. And then it's like, okay, once we get past that, what is the date that the statute of limitations started? Once you finally get that, when's the date that the statute will expire? And again, keep in mind, under FDCPA, they cannot make any false statements. Okay, so that's the checkmate of this thing from my experience. And so, I mean, they can't be like, I'm like, well, you're either going to hang the phone up on me, or you're going to find me an answer, which is either a compliant answer or a non-compliant answer. If you don't know when the statute expires, that's kind of problematic. How can you be so certain to collect? And then the next question is, which state are you using for the statute of limitations to govern this thing, right? And they don't know that half the time. And then, send me all statements from the most recent time this thing had a zero balance to validate the amount, and send me the original paperwork, right? That's kind of my standard when I call them up. I mean, like, you just can't go through the levels of the minion all the way up to the supervisor and not have them say dumb things on a recorded call with just those basic things, right?
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you do all of what you said, how long is that phone call?
Yeah, I mean, it could be about maybe a 20-minute call.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Oh
yeah.
my God. So let me tell you this, Steve. Not to like put my
Not
chest
to,
out there, right?
not to school me, but to go ahead and school me. Go ahead
Yeah,
and
yeah,
school
yeah.
me.
Not to like, you know. So I mean, um, I, I'm I main I maintain a $2 million company, and my phone calls do not exceed 2 to 3 minutes. I'm
Yeah,
in and okay. So what you're doing is like great, but let's take a different angle, right? So what you were saying was like the consumer can dispute 2 years down the road, right? So that goes into is under if it's codified really in the FDCPA, and that's G and then it's C, right? So it's like a 5-part statute if you really look at it. So you got A, which is the written requirement. Then you
yeah,
got B, which is the disputing rights, and then you got C, basically saying, hey, if this person just doesn't lay down, is you're not liable. So that's what you was basically going to. So to say this, like Steve, I'm not a smart guy. Burley, I didn't even finish the ninth grade, So I always, go back to the origin of everything. So the origin of the FDCPA is for the least sophisticated consumer. So just tell you 10 seconds ago, I didn't finish the ninth grade completely. So to say this, I think what you're doing is super, super, super high level. So we're going to keep it down to the least sophisticated consumer level, right? And so,
right here,
um,
real quick. Let's show you guys this. So, and I am paying attention everywhere, but this is
yeah,
what you said.
yeah,
What?
it's
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean,
five-part statute.
the failure of a consumer to dispute
Yeah,
the validity of a debt under this section may not be construed by any court as an admission of liability. So, to your point, yeah, I mean, it is pretty much codified that
yeah.
you can dispute at any point in time, and then
So
you were
Steve,
just
before
going
you
to the
bring
least.
it up,
Go ahead.
before you bring it up, didn't I say it was a 5-part section statute?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Come on now. You gotta know. You gotta know. Steve, do you know a guy named Michael Jordan?
I don't know him personally, but I've heard of the gentleman. Yeah, he's.
How effective of a player would Michael Jordan be if he didn't understand the rules, the basic rules to
Yeah,
basketball?
he'd be
He
he'd be
wouldn't be
toast.
he
He'd be
wouldn't be effective at all.
gone pecan, man.
You have to know the rules. And that's what the average consumer doesn't know. They don't know the rules.
Yeah.
And so this is the thing. While you was talking probably like a couple minutes ago, you said the best thing in the world. Basically you said what you said was if you notify them in writing, right? And so you're an American, I'm an American. And the thing about it is in that FDCPA, it does when you're disputing, right? It does start off with if. And people read that section of the law and say, well, it has to be in writing. No, if you read that section, it says if the consumer notifies the debt collector in writing. The dispute doesn't have to be in writing. So this is the thing. You just got to have proof of the dispute. Remember when I told you I go around with a recorder everywhere? Well, today in today's time, everybody got a cell phone. Everybody got an iPad. Everybody got a laptop. Why don't you just put your phone on speakerphone, right? And go to your electronic device and hit record. And in America, people think like, and I'm gonna break this down. So people think like, you know, do I have to tell them it's recorded? No, you don't. You don't have to tell anybody you're recording anything. And so let me explain the two. So I'm in Oklahoma, and so the law that governs is where the call lands. So say for an example, if we call into California, California is a two-party consent state. So they're like, well, you didn't tell them it was recorded. I don't have to tell you it's recorded because let's go back, Steve. You remember when I said I didn't graduate like fully into the ninth grade? Well, when you call debt collectors, it says they say, hey, this is an attempt to collect the debt. Any information will be used for that purpose. All phone calls may be monitored and recorded. Oh, since you're in a two-party consent state, you told me you was recording, and I can record you. And I just seen a comment that said, "What's good for the goose is good for the gander," and I'm good with that.
Yep. Good stuff there, man. That's amazing. So, all right. So let's get to it. So you said your calls are typically 2 to 5 minutes, and I mean you can.
I'm
So
robbing the bank and getting out the bank.
yeah. So you can do that. Now, I guess kind of what I'm saying, if you want to go up 2 or 3 levels of goons over there, that does take a little bit of time. But tell me, give me the Vance Dotson secret sauce. All right. How do you?
You said if we're gonna replay this recording, and you said you said, I'm telling you, I maintained $2 million on just what you said, and it's golden. You said the debt collectors, they don't care, they just trying to collect some money. There you go, right there. I like that. So the person who's representing your $1 billion company don't even care, because I'm finna hang up the phone and sue you because you messed up. You don't understand the law.
Right.
Steve, I'm very consistent in filing and helping people around America using the same method. So this is the thing. I'm pretty sure you probably know too. I'm gonna just use round off numbers. After the TransUnion Ramirez, and this is the thing. I promise you, I talked to Brian Ponder personally about this. So when that ruling came out, everybody was like, all the lawyers was like, "Oh no, this is a bad ruling." And I swear, I was like, "Dude, that's a great ruling," because it goes back to my first experience dealing with the lawsuits, right? So these debt collectors like to say, "Oh, it's $1,000. It's $1,000, right?" And I'm like, "Dude, you're killing me right now." So after Ramirez, the thing about Ramirez is you got to have a concrete injury, right? So you have to plead the concrete injury now. And I'm like, dude, I was doing that way before. But this is the thing. If I got to plead it, right, you got to pay it. So we're talking about actual damages. So consumers have actual damages. And when consumers contact me, I'm really ciphering out that actual damage. Like, hey, how has this hurt you? Right. And so all I'm doing is taking what they're telling me and really putting it on paper. And that's really what it is.
And I mean, I was going to just say that the actual damages, that's an important part, because that's a big thing under FCRA as well. Is that you've got to show damage. And if your client is coming to you as a credit repair company watching this, typically that's what our standard audience is here. Mm-hmm. What is your interview process with your clients? I mean, because if you could find out what their issue is, well, I'm trying to get a mortgage where you denied, and put that in the dispute letter, even if it's to the bureaus, because ultimately, to your point, you're going to need to know what those damages are. And so from a lot of CROs, they'll write these crazy dispute letters because they're trying to get unique content for the CRAs to not kick it. Or write a couple of paragraphs on their factual background and how they were damaged. For the credit letter. You don't like that?
Yeah, man. Like I say, go
ahead. This is your talk to us.
Yeah. So Steve, this is the Vance. You're up here, man. You're way up here, man.
And you're least sophisticated consumer. You're down here.
Yeah. So keep in mind, I didn't finish the ninth grade completely. So we're gonna keep it down to where everybody can understand, And so, I mean, if you listen to me, I don't have a Yale education, man. I'm real, like, I'm really, to be honest with you, in Oklahoma City, when they're talking about all of the bad stuff, like all the shootings and the robbings and the crack and the prostitution, they're talking about the east side of Oklahoma City. And I'm telling you,
sounds like a good evening to me. My goodness gracious.
yeah, and that's where I'm from. That's where I grew up at, you know. So that's what I embrace. And so I tell people, man, you don't have to change to have a successful FDCPA case or successful credit repair business. You don't have to change who you are, and really embrace who you are, and put that same reality into people's into the court system, into people's face, right?
Yeah.
So, say for example, you said, when you was talking about the disputing part, you said some $1 billion information that people really don't hone in on. And once they hone in on that information, debt collection just goes out the door legally.
Yeah. So let's focus on how you can help folks. I mean, so because we've got a lot of folks tuned in here who are credit repair business owners, and
how many viewers that we got right now?
oh man, we've got millions of viewers, Vance. We've got millions of viewers. You're not gonna be able to handle the volume. So
Gotcha.
all right, so let's kind of bring it down to how you can help folks, and the good, the bad, and all that. So I mean, you're in Oklahoma. You're not an attorney, but you are able to do assignments of claims. That's still a little up in the air, sort of. Now, correct me, I'm just speaking on high level what I understand. But I think it's totally legit thing that you're able to do conceptually, but it's all about how you get there. But you've got people coming to you from all 50 states.
Yes.
I've seen your Facebook post. Hey, do you know an attorney? I want to teach them, which I think is, because all attorneys, they're just like doctors. They've got their specialty, right? And, this is a big thing with me with the pre-lit. I talk to a lot of CROs and help them, and have a lot of attorneys who I know and refer business to as well. But everybody's got their little niche, okay? Yeah. And so obviously you understand how to, in general, checkmate the debt collectors. So how can you work with folks in all 50 states? How can you help our audience at this point? Let's talk about how.
Got you. So you kind of like, now I'm gonna go to back in the day and fast forward it to today. So back in the day, I'm running around Oklahoma City with a recorder in my hand, trying to help.
You're out there with the prostitutes and the good part that you were just describing.
I promise you. So, I had my recorder, and I'm running around Oklahoma City like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to introduce this good information to everybody. And so basically, I analyzed very early on that a lot of people couldn't pay. So if I said, hey, you know what, we can make a 2 or 3 minute phone call, and then we can go sue this debt collector for what they messed up on, right? And I'm just like, dude, we can get $3,500 to $5,000. Hold on. And you got 10 items on your report. So $35,000 or $5,000 times 10, do the math. So I'm like, dude, give me $5,000 or $10,000. And I figured out they didn't have the money. So I'm like, dude, okay, cool. Well, look, you know what? So I'm finna take it very basic so the person can understand. And then it pissed me off dearly. And so I'm gonna take you back, and then I'm gonna take you to where we are today. So this is the thing. You're talking about the assignment of claims. So let's go back to Oklahoma. So the person, whoever, will have to look at their state laws. So like you said, in Texas, a power of attorney allows for you to litigate. The same in Oklahoma. So what I was doing was, because I've been going hard at these $1 billion companies for years. And so I've always been accused of practicing law without a license. I had to go to the bar association and really just cuss them out and really tell them how I feel. I put that on Instagram Live. It's still up there today. And but no charges has ever been filed against me with the district attorney's office or things of that nature. So it's always just been, they send you that letter to be scared of you. But one time accused of practicing law with a license. Had to go down there to the bar association, and the guy was just like, "Dude, you're doing something that's very unique that nobody is doing." And so, but that was at the time when a younger person was running that department. Now that an older person is running that department, he's just a jackass, right? And so, to get to where we are today, so Steve, I need you to be a little bit of interacting with me, right? So,
All
say
right.
for example, with you or your wife, right? Could you have your kid? Could you have a baby without her? Could she have a baby without you? What I'm getting to is one doesn't exist without the other. Is that
I
correct?
don't know. Have you seen that new iPhone emoji with the pregnant man, Vance? I
Oh
mean,
man, I seen that, man. I seen that, man. I seen that. I seen that.
so, but no, obviously, it
You,
takes.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let me take you to how it is, and which typically we're going to just say a car, right? We're going to say a consumer goes and get a car. They sign a contract. The consumer goes and get a credit card. They sign or click the term and services and agreement. The consumer says, "Hey, Mr. Plumber, man, I'm going to pay you later," or "Hey, Mr. Doctor, thanks for fixing my elbow. I'm gonna pay you later." Them are contractual obligations, right? So let's pause it right there, right? Let's pause it right there so everybody can understand that's looking at it. So if a consumer, increases their FICO score and then they go tell a mortgage broker and they say, "Hey, I want this $1 million home," and then they go, go to a realtor and they pick out the $1 million home and they're the happiest ever, and then they go in front of that realtor person and take a picture with that, little sign that they do and things of that nature. Before that consumer sticks that key into that door, their mortgage has probably been sold 10 times on the market. Why? Because it's a contract, and contracts can be sold around America. All right. So let's resume with the debt collection story. So one, we started with one doesn't exist without the other, right? So if the consumer, it it came in existence because of the consumer, right? So Bank of America just can't lend to themselves. It came in existence because of the consumer. Well, let's say for an example, the consumer doesn't pay Bank of America. So Bank of America sells or assigns the debt to the debt collector. Steve, are we on the same page now, or is it a little funky?
It takes two to tango.
It takes two to tango. So this is the thing. How come the consumer can't assign or sell their rights?
Sure.
You see, it's real simple, but I'm telling you, now let's go deep into the FDCPA. Well, not deep. Let's scratch the surface of the FDCPA. The FDCPA only gives protection to contractual debts. So hold on. There is for sure a contract. Can't say it ain't. So I just said, "Hey, courts, the debt collector takes assignment, or they didn't bought this debt. The consumer is just giving me it's the same thing." But they said, I took this all the way up to the appeals, and the appeals court said, "No, the rights can't be assigned under the FDCPA." I said, it's a contract. This consumer, when now, Steve, you probably deal with consumers that get sued, right, across America.
Sure.
And let me give you a fun fact about that. This is a fun fact that pisses me off every fucking second I think about it.
So it's an unfact. It's an unfun fact.
Yeah, unfun fact. So
Right.
the debt collectors across America uses the court systems the most in any other industry. The debt collection industry uses the court systems more than any other sector in the United States of America. Period. So when the tables turn and people is probably paid under the table, Vance Dotson can't do that no more.
Mm-hmm.
That pissed me off. So what did I do? So here we are. Fast forward to today. The method that basically I use every day, to the common person or to the common credit repair organization, they don't use it. So what I'm doing today is trying to get the awareness up, and I'm trying to teach other credit repair organizations on how I work and how I operate on a day-to-day basis. And I'm telling you, Steve, it's not an easy task
I,
because they
I know.
don't understand. They don't understand. They don't have you. I'm 39 years old. How old are you, Steve?
43.
43. See, people don't understand the KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. They don't understand that. And if they keep it real simple, they'll make more money. But people don't understand it, right? When it comes to debt collection, they don't understand how to make the money, you know? And so Steve, like I say, you was talking about some high tech stuff, talking about taking this letter, putting this code in that, and calling this person, talking for 20 minutes. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, dude, I keep telling you, dude, I didn't finish the ninth grade. So
Yeah.
I keep it real simple. Keep it real simple. Um, in 2 or 3 minutes, man, I'm out. I have the consumer introduce themselves, state the problem, and then get off the phone. It doesn't take that long.
So we've got
And
two types of
from
folks
that
really
from
kind
that
of
2 or 3
watching.
minute, and from that 2 or 3 minute call, 35 to $5,000 is usually generated off of that phone call.
So we've got kind of typically two types of people here watching. I mean, it's credit repair professionals, which would include there's attorneys watching also, but folks
Yeah,
who help represent consumers, and then we have consumers watching
yeah.
also.
Oh, yeah.
How can either one of those? How can if they've got some debts and they feel like they're being frustrated, or if they're a consumer representative, how can they work with Vance Dotson? What services can you provide to either one of those for our listening audience to make their lives easier and to put the hurting on those nefarious bottom feeders over there?
Yeah, man. So if you're a credit repair company, and you want to basically team up, shoot me a message. Say, hey, let's team up. Um, so if you're a consumer, just hit me up and say, hey, I need help, and we'll work out something. So so yeah, man. So say for an example, Steve, I'm trying to tell you, like, where I'm from, we just don't have the best background. We don't have the best financial situations, things
Yeah.
of that nature. So say for example, like I say, 2 or 3 minute call, right? So let's say for an example, repossession. We're just gonna use repossession for an example, right? So a lot of people, since COVID, cars got repossessed. So like if you seen, I'm pretty sure you probably seen that statistic, like the repossessions was at an all-time high dealing with cars, right? And so of course the debt collectors or the whoever, they're going to come after you, right? So you're going to start getting these calls, you're going to start getting these fancy letters, things of that nature. They're going to put it on your credit, things of that nature. That's what typically happens. And so when consumers come to me, I ask them what happened. And they tell me, man, I had the AC went bad, or the transmission was messed up, or because typically they got these buy here, pay here cars, right? And things of that nature. So let's say for an example, if the transmission was messed up, right? And say we're just gonna say for an example, if it was you, Steve. So I say, hey, look, this call usually take 2 or 3 minutes, and I don't if the debt collector asks for your social, give them the social. If they ask for your birthday, whatever, your address, give it to them, right? I want them to identify you. Don't dodge the fact on who you are. Don't do that. All right. So so typically, Steve, if somebody calls you and say, "Hey, how are you? Who are you?" How long will that take? Typically.
Couple minutes, man. Quick call.
No, a couple minutes is too long. It take you about 15 seconds, right? Take you about 15 seconds. So keep in mind, the issue was that their transmission was whatever. They just didn't even like the car. The AC was messed up or whatever the case may be, right? And typically the if it was a repossession issue, right? We can get into a different scenario with the medical bills, a different scenario with the credit cards, different scenario with the AT&T bills. We can get into a different scenario. So, but this scenario is dealing with the repossession. So the consumer's like, oh, this AC wasn't working good, right? And then I say, okay, cool. Tell them your problem, and then get off the phone, the outro. Say, hey, look, that's all I needed. Have a nice day. That usually takes about 2 to 3 minutes. So Steve, in that whole scenario, what do you think took place?
You told them your story.
Yeah, you told them your story. You told them your story. And literally, we can literally, play it out like, hey, my name is Vance Dotson. Yeah, how may I help you? Oh, yeah, my social is 0000. Yeah. Oh, yeah, how many? This is a $32,000 deficiency balance. And yeah, how you going to you got a check credit card? Well, shoot, if I had the money, I wouldn't be needing a credit card, check, whatever. Yeah, man, but that AC in that car, man, it wasn't getting hot. So I just told him to come and pick it up. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. And then, all right, well, you ain't gonna make the payment? No, I ain't gonna make the payment. So yeah, bye-bye. Have a nice day. Click. Boom. In that whole scenario right there, what do you think took place? Under the FDCPA. Under the FDCPA.
I don't know. It kind of sounds to me like you admitted to it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I would tell people to admit to that debt over the phone. I would tell people we're going to admit in this complaint that it's your debt. Like, and if you get deposed, scream up and down it's your debt. Scream up and down you have to free Obamacare, right? So do it. So
let's see. We got Jeff Duvall, refusal to pay. Okay, that was a refusal to pay.
No. That was not a refusal to pay. For the correction for the record. So Steve, I'm gonna ask you now. Keep in mind. I maintained $2 million just doing what I just told you, and I really went through the scenario 2 or 3 times. Right? This is under the FDCPA. See, this is the thing. If you try to think it, you're never going to catch it. So
Jennifer Sanford, she says that was a dispute.
We're gonna go off into that. So the thing is, people say, like what you said, you dealing with the first minion, and then you got to deal with the second minion, and the second.
Yeah,
I like to deal with the first minion because I know for sure I'm finna get $35,000 to $5,000 out of that person in 2 or 3 minutes. In 2 or 3 minutes, you don't even know what hit you until that lawsuit comes.
Man, I tell you what, this is some good stuff. It's hard to believe we've been doing this for almost an hour, and so let's take this one in for a landing here with your final words. But we will definitely do some more. My goodness gracious, this is wild stuff. So give us your. Go ahead. Let's finish this up.
So let me give you the $2 million a year answer. Can you pull up the FDCPA? Can you pull up the FDCPA? GB. Yeah, GB.
Got it.
GB.
Got it right.
GB.
Got it right here.
All right. So we agree on the fact that the dispute doesn't have to be in writing, Steve. Is that correct?
Correct.
Boom. You just got to have proof of what you're talking about and what you're doing. So that's the recorder, right? So we got the recorder for the proof, right? So if you look at GB and then it screams at you at A3, you can dispute the validity of the debt or any portion, do not look further than that.
Yep.
Now, let's go back and rewind.
Vance, I'm sorry. I've got to say, imagine how much smarter you'd be if you had graduated at 10th grade. My goodness.
Oh, you see, hey, now Steve, now listen. I'm assuming because of that comment, the light bulb just went off in your head.
I mean, it's when you take the one line there, you know, and you're dumbing it down, man. It's
keep in mind. You know? So Steve, now listen, you up here, baby. I'm down here, man, and I ain't trying to go up there. You know what I'm saying?
We gotta meet in the middle somewhere, huh?
you don't have now. Let's go back. I get online, and I'm trying to educate people the way that I communicate, right? And so it doesn't take much. A lot of people is wasting time. If you're going to pay that bill, pay the bill. If you're going to sue them, sue them. But I guarantee you, if you take $402, invest it in yourself, and then you're going to go to the federal courthouse, right? And then you're going to get you some money because they gonna pay you to go away. So let me tell you this, Steve, right? That right there, once you file that case and you know how to properly go through the steps of the legal system, they cannot dismiss the case. It has to go to trial. Trial is expensive. Think about it. They gotta hire, they done bought this debt for like a couple dollars, you know. So now you gotta hire a lawyer. That lawyer is billing by an hour. So I've heard that, you know, these lawyers is charging these debt collectors like $500 to $1,000 an hour. Like Moss, I had it's called like Moss and something. They're in Minnesota. Yeah. Like Moss something. It starts with a B or whatever. But they charge $1,000 an hour to defend these type of cases. But this is the thing. What do you want to do? Let's keep fighting this person, right? That didn't, you know, finish 9th grade, you know, or you want to pay him. What do you want to do? So right. You're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're going to lose, right? Yeah. Because this is the thing, Steve. This is why I keep embracing the hood where I'm from. Is because what's important to you, Steve, is not important to me. What's important to me is not important to you. So you can't tell me what a dispute is. And let me tell you this. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. That's the $2 million a year thing.
I love it. Just like when I say about the FCRA, accuracy is not defined. Yeah. Dispute is not really defined in FDCPA.
No. Right. No, I can't let you be on this podcast like this. Is dispute is not defined within the FDCPA. So if we don't listen, I'm telling you how I make the $2 million a year, man. Because the word dispute is not defined within the law, we don't know what it is. So that's why it has to go to the jury.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Well, let's go ahead. One more.
All the credit repair companies. You just heard my magic, and so if you want to team up, we can go deeper into detail. So basically, Steve, I'm holding on August the 14th. I'm holding a 5-day challenge, and I'm going to be revealing all of the secrets, all of the methods that I've used over the years, and so Steve, if you could go to Google and type in he's from Oklahoma City, but he stays in the Dallas area, but type in Alan Jones debt collection, Alan Jones debt collection, right?
All right, let's see what your boy.
Yeah. So that was 1.5 million. And I'm telling you, the same method that I just discussed with you for free. Yeah, that's
Was it you? Like, I'm
that's
not even joking. Like, I don't even know. Is this you right here?
well, no, that's not me. It's one of my
Okay.
friends. One of my
Okay.
friends.
All right. All right. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. But look at that.
yeah,
Well, a profane debt collection calls,
yeah.
1.5 million. Boom. There you go.
But you know how he got the 1.5 million? Recording the call.
That's it.
Recording the
Exactly.
call. It doesn't take much to tear down this pain in the system thing. It just
And you
doesn't.
know, yeah, I mean, the takeaway I would say for everybody is you are not limited to 30 days, and it does not have to be in writing. At any point in time, to your point, say, yeah, I turned that thing in, I blew the transmission up, but I'm not paying it, and I don't even know what's going on here. I'm the least sophisticated consumer, which is the FDCPA standard.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Vance,
Mm-hmm.
I've got my lovely wife over there wanting me on this Friday evening to free up the time. But we're going to do some more. But tell our folks, we're not going to wait till April or August. So tell our folks, how can they actually get a hold of you? So if they're here on Facebook, I'm sure they can click your link and find you. But what's your email? What's your phone number? What's your funnel? How do people find you, man?
And just find me on social media, man. I can't be nobody but myself. Vance Dotson on all social media platforms. It's a couple of fake accounts on Facebook. So just look for the guy who's cursing out
Is
everybody.
that you?
Yeah,
It's Jeff
that's
Bowe. It's Jeff Bowe right there. Look at that.
yeah.
Look at the Moss and Barnett.
Yep,
That.
Monster
All right.
Barnett. They charge a lot. So look for the guy that's on Facebook, always like cussing people out, and look for the guy on Instagram that's always cussing people out, and Twitter, all of the same.
Hold on. Let's take a look and see what's going on here, man. Is this you?
Yeah, that's me. On
I didn't even
August.
know you had this. Honestly, you just
Yeah.
you,
So just 2 minutes, Miss Wife. Could you hold on 2 minutes? Just two
there we
minutes.
go. There, I'm already in the doghouse. So I mean, what the hell
Yeah.
at this point, right? There we go.
So Steve, like I keep saying, and it may seem like a joke to others, but it's very dear to my heart that I do embrace. We're gonna say the hood, right? The people
Sure.
that's less fortunate. So that's a free challenge. Doesn't cost any money to come in. VIP is $97, and the Diamond Experience is $297. So I just highly, highly, highly super recommend that if you are a credit repair company, get the Diamond Experience, because I want to pour into you to help other people.
That's what it's all about, and that's why we do this, and that's why we bring these shows
Yep.
to all of you guys.
Yep.
So on that note, we will wrap this one up, but I can promise our listening audience, not the last show we will do with you, Vance. But so for all of you guys there watching us, thank you all for being on all my channels. Like, share, say bad things, say good things, post something about me, because it feeds the algorithms. Either I love the haters and I love the friends, but all kidding aside, Vance, thank you for being here, part of it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great weekend, and we will see all of you on the next
Thanks for
broadcast.
having me.
You guys
Thanks
all
for
take